Video. Today I'm doing a deep dive into the 2024 presidential election in the state of Kansas. Kansas is a Midwestern state that is usually thought of as a Republican stronghold state, and so far the polling suggests that in 2024 it will likely remain that way. However, there are some underlying numbers in key counties in Kansas that I feel are very valuable and worth watching that could potentially play a role in this election and future elections down the line. So first things first, looking at the state of Kansas and its election history, in 2020 it voted for Donald Trump by 14.6% of the vote over the Democrat Joe Biden. In 2016, Kansas voted 20.6% more Republican than for Donald Trump than for Hillary Clinton. In 2012, Kansas voted 21.7% more Republican than for Mitt Romney over Barack Obama. In the current polling data right now, there's not any polling data to go off of for this video, so we're going to have to use other factors besides that to make our prediction. But I think it is very significant and worth noting that from 2012 to 2016, it went down by about 1% margin of victory from 2012 to 2016 for the Republicans, down 1%. From 2016 to 2020, it went down about 6% of the vote. So it is worth watching for 2024. Will Donald Trump continue that trend of the margin of victory in Kansas going down slightly? And when we get into the key counties, around the state of Kansas, I think we'll see why that margin potentially could be going down. For the national vote, in 2020, Joe Biden won the popular vote by 4.4%. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote in 2016 by 2.1%. And in 2012, Barack Obama won the popular vote by 3.9%. It's worth noting in the current polling average right now, Kamala Harris is a lead of 1.7% at the national average, which is behind every single past Democrat in the popular vote in the last three elections, and almost cut in half of the average across the last three elections. Looking at Kansas compared to the national vote, in 2020, Kansas voted 19% more Republican than the national vote. In 2016, Kansas was 22.7% more Republican than the national vote. And in 2012, Kansas was 25.6% more Republican than the popular vote. An average difference of 22.4% more Republican than the national vote from Kansas. However, like the margins of victory in the state, it has gotten less Republican across the last three elections by only a few percentage points both times, but it has had a trend of getting less and less Republican. Now, that does not mean there's really much doubt on how this race is going to go. Real Clear Politics has it as solid for Trump to win the state of Kansas. Sabado Crystal Ball has it as safe for Trump. Inside Elections, solid Trump. Decision Desk HQ, The Hill, has it as safe for Trump. And Cook Political Report also has it as solid Trump. So there's not a question Donald Trump is going to win the state of Kansas. The question is, what will be his margins in the state that we're looking for? We're looking at now some very key counties in the state of Kansas, starting with Shawnee County. Shawnee County, this is where the city of Topeka is, one of the biggest cities in the entire state of Kansas. And this is a very good microcosm, I think, of why the state is getting a lot closer. In 2012, Mitt Romney won this county by 1.1%. In 2016, Donald Trump won it by 2.7%. But in 2020, Joe Biden won this county by 3% of the vote. This is a county I'm watching for very, very closely because I think this is an area where if this county goes even more farther to the left, say D+5, D+6, this is an area where it will likely swing the margin of victory in the state of Kansas down even more from where it was in 2020 if that were to happen. If Trump corrects course in this county and gets it maybe D+1 or even R+1 again, then I think that might reverse that trend. So that's a county I'm watching very, very closely. Riley County, very similar, a suburb of Topeka, of Shawnee, and Riley has Republican +12 in 2012, R +3.6 in 2016, and D +4.6 in 2020, following a very, very similar path of Shawnee County. And pretty much the exact same things I'm watching for here. What will be the margin and by how much? Will it be a Kamala County? Will it be a Trump County? And by how much? That is one I'm watching. Very, very interesting. Johnson County, 17.4% win in 2012 for Romney, 2.6% win in 2016 for Trump, 8.2% win for Biden in 2020. I'm watching this one very, very closely for the margins. I expect it to be a Democrat county, a Kamala County, but by how much in the margin, that is one I'm watching for very closely. Lastly, Sedgwick County. This is one where it is the city of Wichita, which is, I believe, the second biggest city in the state of Kansas, so certainly worth mentioning. It was won by 18.9% by Romney in 2012, 18.4% by Trump in 2016, and then dropped down to 11.9% in 2020. This is one I think it's certainly possible. If Kamala outperforms in the state of Kansas, this very well may be under the 10% margin of victory window, which would then put it into likely Republican for me, for my personal ratings, below the safe of 10. So that'll be one I'm watching for to see how the state goes. As for the map of Kansas, every single county I have labeled on the map, and I also have arrows pointing to where I'm looking in these counties. In 2020, Trump versus Biden, Trump got 56.1%, Biden got 41.5%. Riley County got 50.7% for Biden to 46.1% for Trump. Johnson County, which is on the eastern tip of the state, Biden got 53.1%, Trump got 44.8%. Then you look at Shawnee County, 50.2% for Biden, 47.2% for Trump. And Sedgwick County, 54.7% for Trump to 42.9%. Now keep this map in mind when we look at 2016, where a lot of the blue that Biden had in 2020 pretty much goes away. Especially in Riley County, where Trump led over Clinton 47 to 43.5, or 4.4, excuse me. Johnson County, 47.4 to 44.8. Shawnee County, 47.7 to 45. 55.3 to 36.9 in Sedgwick. Every single one of the toss-up counties that were won by Biden in 2020 of Riley, Shawnee, and Johnson all went for Trump in 2016. And looking at 2012, they also all went for Romney in Romney versus Obama, 59.7, 38% statewide. Riley was 54.5 to 42.5. Johnson, 57.7 to 40.3. Shawnee, 49.4, 48.3. And Sedgwick, 58.2 to 39.4. So as I showed you, you can see from 2012 to 2020 a clear trend of the state in those suburban areas I showed you getting more and more Democratic. Not just in the counties, but also in the margins. In 2012, solid red county in Johnson, likely red in Riley, and also in Geary and Lyon and Shawnee. 2016, Riley, Shawnee, and Johnson are all lean Republican. And then come 2020, we have Riley and Shawnee as lean Democrat and likely Democrat for Johnson. So 2024 will probably be more likely like the 2020 map, but that's one I'm certainly watching for to see how it goes on Election Day. Now, with that said, let's get into the parties themselves and what I expect the candidates to get in the vote. In 2020, Donald Trump got 56.1% of the vote statewide. In 2016, he got 56.7% of the vote statewide. So that was a decrease of 0.6% from 2016 to 2020. In 2012, Mitt Romney got 59.7%. That is a decrease of 3 points from 2012 to 2016. So the estimated range, based off the equation I did, of 59.7 the high minus 56.1 the low, gets that margin, and then add and subtract from the highest totals, gives me a low end Republican for 52.5 and a high end for the Republicans of 63.3, with an average vote across the last 3 elections of 57.5. And I think this is one instance where there are very few states that I think I'm pretty confident Donald Trump is going to perform worse in than he did in 2020. I think 2020 will be a far more Democratic, favorable election in terms of popular vote and such than 2024 will be. However, I do think the state of Kansas is one of those states I think I could see Donald Trump doing worse in than he did in 2020. And I do think that I'm going to show you my prediction at the end of the video for what I think Trump versus Harris will be in the state of Kansas. I think it'll be less than what Trump got in 2020. On the Democratic side, in 2020, Biden got 41.5%. In 2016, Clinton got 36.1%. In 2012, Obama got 38%. Conducting a range, again, using the same method of the highest total minus the lowest total, getting that solution, and then adding and subtracting from the highest and the lowest, that gets a low end for the Democrats in Kansas of 30.7 and a high of 46.9. So again, I really don't think, barring a complete and total polling miss, that the Republicans are really in much jeopardy of losing the state of Kansas in 2024. However, I think the margins are certainly capable of getting more Democratic and less Republican. The question is by how much, because the average vote of the last 3 elections is 38.5%. But I do think the state of Kansas is more likely to be like a 2020 election than a 2016 election. So for the state of Kansas, my 2024 prediction, I have Donald Trump getting 55.9%, Harris getting 41.7%. This gives Kamala Harris 0.2% more support statewide than Joe Biden got in 2020, and giving Donald Trump 0.2% less support than he got in 2020. And I think that Harris will make marginal gains in some of those key counties I showed you that were already Democratic, and I think she'll make very little significant moves, but some moves nonetheless in those counties that boost her numbers and make sure it does a little bit better in a state like Kansas. However, I don't think it'll be anything drastic. I think Trump will still win statewide by 14.2%. And this is a good microcosm of the state of Kansas going forward of how Trump will fare in the 2024 election when it comes to some of the key suburban areas, which used to be pretty reliable Republican counties and then became swing counties in the 2010s. And now the 2020s are looking more like moderate Democrat areas, and the areas the Democrats will typically do well in. So I think that will be an interesting microcosm of things to come for the 2024 election. Looking at the 2024 electoral map right now I have Kamala Harris at 97 electoral votes, Donald Trump at 53, and I have a long way to go leading up until Election Day, and my next state up will be the state of Oklahoma. So I hope you please stay tuned for that, because that will be coming out very, very soon in the not too distant future. In the meantime, thank you for watching this video. Please enjoy a sneak peek now at my 2024 full election night prediction. It is now 9 p.m. on the East Coast, and we have a second huge poll closings of the night, including several key, very important battleground states. The states with their polls closing right now are Arizona, Colorado, Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Mexico, New York, North Dakota, South Dakota, Texas, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Now let's take a look at what projections we can make at this time. Kansas and its 6 electoral votes we can project have been won by Donald Trump. Kansas goes for Trump. That will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like. And if you really liked it, please remember to click the subscribe button. And make sure you turn post notifications on so you always get notified when I post a new video. That way you never miss one. Also, please remember to share this video with your friends and family if you really like the video. And remember to stay tuned, because I'll be posting at least one video every single day leading up until Election Day. So I'd really appreciate it if you keep coming back and watching those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.